Um, Welcome to the this session on the Bartlett Promise Scholarship for applicants from Sub-Saharan Africa. If Hannah is with us, Hannah, can you move on to the next slide, please? This is a Q&A session. We're just going to introduce something about the scholarship award system program, and give you some information and provide a little bit of insight from a couple of the scholars who have been part of this program, and then we'll have an opportunity for questions at the end. We've got an hour set aside for this, but it may be that we don't take up that full hour, just depending on how many questions and so forth that we need to go through. So just to introduce myself again, I'm Professor Iain Borden. I'm the Vice Dean Education for the Bartlett faculty at UCL, and I'm one of the academics that leads on this scholarship program. And we're joined on this call today by some other colleagues. I'm just going to ask them to say hello and introduce themselves. And let's start with Razan.
Hi everyone. Good morning wherever you are. I'm Razan Mustafa. I'm a graduate student from the Bartlett School. I'm doing urban development planning.
Thanks, Razan. And then
I'm from Sudan.
Yeah. And from Juliet.
Hi everyone, my name is Juliet, and so I'm reading Infrastructure Investments and Finance also at the Bartlett.
Great, thanks, Juliet. And we'll hear from Razan and Juliet a little bit more later. And then finally, but no means least, Sarah Rolph, my colleague in the faculty office.
Hi, I'm Sarah Rolph. I'm the Bartlett Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Manager. And together with Dion, who's also on this call, Dion Lai, we manage the Bartlett Promise Scholarship, the applications process, and so on and so forth.
Brilliant. Thanks, Sarah. Okay, let's go on to the next slide if we can, please. So maybe I'll kick off with this one, Sarah, and then Sarah and I will oscillate between the different slides. So what is the Bartlett Promise? Well, one of the things that we realise in the faculty is across higher education, across the construction industry, the built environment's not diverse enough in terms of the backgrounds and countries and ethnicities of the people who study and then go on to practice in various built environment professions. So what we're trying to do at the Bartlett is we're promised to try and do something better in that area. And the Bartlett Promise is a scholarship, which is one of our big commitments to help improve things in this area. And what the Bartlett Promise Scholarship does is enable students from backgrounds who are underrepresented in the Bartlett to pursue their master's degree at the faculty. And our goal, as it says on the screen, what we want to do is provide the opportunity of an education for everybody, regardless of their financial means, and so to diversify the student body and then ultimately to diversify the people who join and practice in the built environment professions. And this is quite a big program that we offer across the faculty. Next slide, please, Hannah, and then Sarah will take us through the next slide.
I can see we've got a raised hand. Hannah is our faculty communications manager. You'll be managing questions for us at the end of the presentation. Is that correct? I think that's what we're going to do. So so what does the scholarship cover? Well, first of all, the tuition fees for the duration of your program. Most programs are for about 1 year, and the tuition fee varies according to the program. But whatever the fee is, we will cover it for the full length of your program. You get a stipend of £16,008 to cover your living and study costs. You get a return flight from your country to London and back again at the end of their studies. We also pay for the study visa costs. You have to apply for a visa, a UK VI visa, and we pay for the application costs and a travel allowance of £200. It's a flat rate to cover any travel that you may need to do in your country to get to the visa centre or to get to the health check places where you have to have a health check. We pay the fees for any language tests. Some countries are required to have an English language assessment, and if there are any fees for that, we will pay those. And also for your visa, you need an immigration health supplement. We will pay that and the health check that go with that. We also have 100 application fee waivers, but unfortunately, I'm afraid at this point in the year, those have already run out. But you will find if you apply that you need to pay a fee to make an application to the Bartlett for a master's. In October, we released 100 fee waivers, but I'm afraid those have now run out at this point.
Yeah. Just to add to that, Sarah, we'll be doing that again next year, won't we?
We will be doing it again.
Wait till next year. We'll be releasing another 100 application fee waivers for next year, won't we?
We will, and we would strongly recommend that if you haven't got one already, that you prepare yourselves to apply next year, because otherwise that they start going from October, and yes, by December, early January, they've all gone. So you need to get in early in the year to get a fee waiver. Could we go to the next slide, please, Hannah?
So I'll cover this one. So who's eligible? If you want to know if you're eligible. So the criteria for next year are you must be a national, so a national of one of our approved list of Sub-Saharan African countries, and be resident in an eligible Sub-Saharan African country. And the full list of those is up on the website, but I won't go through the full list here because it's quite a long list. But the full list is up on our website. If you just Google for Bartlett Promise Sub-Saharan Africa Scholarship, you'll find that page if you haven't already done so. But the full list of those is there. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you must not hold a British or dual British citizenship. So that if you are British or have dual British citizenship, unfortunately, you would not be eligible. The other thing that you must do, the way that you apply, is you first have to get an offer of admission to a Bartlett Master's programme for study next academic year, so starting in September 2025. And that offer can either be unconditional or it can be conditional only on your English language. So in other words, you've got an offer, but you just need to get your English language qualification sorted in advance. So you first get your offer for the master's programme and then you apply to the Bartlett Promise scheme. And the other thing is you have to be in financial need as assessed by UCL. And essentially that means an assessed household income of less than, in UK terms, I think the figure is currently £42,875. So you have to have a household income of less than £42,875 UK pounds.
Annually.
Annually, yes. Yes, good point, Sarah. Yes, thank you. Next slide, please. And then just to carry on with this is that we say that candidates should ideally also meet at least one of the additional criteria. So either be a forced migrant or be the first generation in your family to attend university at undergraduate level, or be first generation in your family to attend university at postgraduate level. They're not essential, but it does make they are one of the criteria that we look at when we're making the selection. Next slide, please. Back to you, Sarah.
Okay, we're very fortunate this year to have an additional scholarship which is funded by Julia Prescott. She very kindly funded one scholarship the year before last, and the second year scholar who has received her scholarship is Juliet Ansar. So she's already funded one scholar for us and another one in progress, and we're very fortunate that she will be also funding another scholar next year. They must be a female student and they must be studying the MSc Infrastructure and Investment and Finance at the Bartlett School of Sustainable Construction. So that's in addition to the Bartlett Promise scholarships. And you would apply for that one using the same Bartlett Promise Scholarship application form, but in that application form, there's a tick box where you can say that you'd like to be considered for this scholarship, the Prescott Scholarship, if you meet those two criteria.
So just to emphasize that, just to come in that again, and obviously just to point out, if you are a female student and you are applying from the MSc in Infrastructure, Investment and Finance, and you meet the Sub-Saharan Africa criteria, it's particularly worth applying for this scholarship. I should say that I don't think we've already said there are up to 3 Bartlett Promise scholarships, as it were, normal scholarships available for next year, plus this Bartlett Promise Prescot Scholarship. So that's the number that we have on offer this coming year. Next slide, please, Anna. Okay, so let's go on to the application process. The first thing is obviously check your eligibility. Read the FAQs, the frequently asked questions. Read them carefully. They're all up on the website. And then email, if you have any questions, email bartlett.promise@ucl.ac.uk with any questions that you have. And we will answer those. Somebody from the team will answer those questions. You then apply, first thing you do is apply to a Bartlett Masters program. So you check out the master's programs offered by the Bartlett's 9 schools. There are 80 or 90 different master's programs across the faculty, so there's a huge range. You can search for programs using the program finder, and then you apply to that chosen program online. As Sarah has already mentioned, if you may have already applied for and got a fee waiver, if you haven't got one of those, then you might well consider waiting till next year to apply, so you won't have to pay to apply. And then you would hopefully then get an offer from UCL to study in your chosen master's program. So that's the first thing that you should do. And it's probably worth saying straight away that the way that the Bartlett Promise Scholarship works is it is not dependent on your academic ability. We do not select people based on how brilliant they are in their academic study. The only criteria that we have on that is that you have an offer from a Bartlett Master's program before applying to the scholarship program. We'll come on to criteria in a little bit. You then apply to the Bartlett Promise Sub-Saharan Africa Scholarship. The application form for this opens on the 14th of February this year, so just in about 4 weeks' time. And then it closes about 6 weeks later on the 28th of March, 2025 at 23:45 UK time. So that is the absolute deadline for doing that. So you have to fill in the application form and get it to us in that window between the 14th of February and the 28th of March. We will then check your UCL letter of admission to a Bartlett Master's program. We'll check that on the 4th of April. And we will then send a invitation to the people who have indeed got the right offers and do meet our criteria. We'll ask them to complete part 2 of the application form. So there's just a little bit of just checking that people are eligible and that they've got their Bartlett Promise Award done at that stage. Next slide, please. I'll pass to you, Sarah. Do you want to go through the next bit?
Okay, so then we'll send you the Part 2 application form, which will consist of some questions, and we'll ask you to give us some statements about your experience and your future goals. They're very short, 100-word maximum word limit, so don't write an essay, just a short, succinct, but personal summary of why you want to study the particular program that you've chosen. Okay. And then from that group of people, we shortlist. So we would then shortlist from the people who've completed Part 2, so they've got their offer letter and they've completed Part 2, and we will shortlist from that list. The people that we shortlist will be invited to talk through their application with an external body called the Windsor Fellowship. They're an external organisation, and we ask them to conduct a conversation with you. It's about a 45-minute, an hour maximum conversation on Zoom, on Teams, or by phone, whatever method works for you. There will be a representative from the Windsor Fellowship and also an academic from the Bartlett called Dr. Emmanuel Sute. Those two people will talk to you about your application and your reasons for applying. It's not an interrogation and it's not an interview. It's a conversation where we can flesh out your application form and understand a bit more about you and why you want to study the program you want to study. So those interviews will be set up by the Windsor Fellowship team. They will contact you by email to offer you a day and a time and discuss with you the best way of setting that up, Zoom or Teams or whatever. So that happens. And then, of course, we look at all the data that we've got about you, your application form, the record of your conversation with the Windsor Fellowship, and then we make a decision about who will get the scholarships. The candidates will receive their outcomes on the 28th of May, or by the 28th of May, 2005. If you are lucky enough to be awarded a scholarship, you then will check whether you need to have an English language assessment. You may have already got that covered. You may not need one, but if you do need one, you have until the 30th of June to get that level required. If you take the test and fail the level, or if you fail to achieve the level required, I'm afraid the offer would be withdrawn. So you really must get your English up and get through that exam stage if it's needed. Shall I go on?
Yeah, you carry on, Sarah, and then I'll come back in.
Okay. So just an overview of the timings and deadlines. You need to you can apply for the masters. If you've already got a fee waiver, make sure you should have got your application in for a Bartlett Masters, and you'll be waiting to find out whether you've been accepted or not, and you get an offer letter. If you haven't got a fee waiver, you should think seriously about delaying your application till next year when you can apply for a fee waiver in October. Get it in early. The scholarship application form opens on the 14th of February. Hopefully, if you have got a fee waiver and you should have got your offer letter by the 14th of February, but if not, you've got until the 28th of March when the scholarship closes to get that offer letter from UCL and make yourself eligible for the scholarship. Then the shortlisted candidates will have a dialogue with the Windsor Fellowship in that time frame between the 25th of April and the 9th of May. And we finally notify who's got the scholarships on the 28th of May. That's a quick overview of the timings.
And all these timings are on our website again. So,
they are indeed.
Yeah.
So at this point, we'd like to invite perhaps Razan first. She is a current Sub-Saharan Africa Master Scholar studying Urban Development Planning at the Development Planning Unit. Razan, would you like to tell us something about your experience?
Yeah, sure. I really love it here. And honestly, I wouldn't have done it without the scholarship. And it's really, really helpful. So I really recommend applying, if not this year, next year. And just taking that financial burden off of you will let you really focus on your studies and just try to work on your career, for example, or like just see the next steps and really actually focus on yourself and your future. And yeah, so far it has been a great experience. London is great, UCL is great. My master's is part of the DPU, the Development Planning Unit, and they offer, I think, 7 master's programs. And yeah, they're all great. They're all focused on the Global South, and you should really take a look at them if they align with something that you want to do. And yeah, it's a really great experience.
Did you find any challenges in understanding UCL and London and how to get around?
At the beginning, yeah, a little bit, but it's not that hard to get a hang of things or get used to like the city or like the moving around or how things work here. And the Bartlett team, the Bartlett Promise team is very helpful. Honestly, Sarah have been an angel in helping out. And yeah, it's the studies bit a little bit because I have been out of school for a while, so it took me a minute to get back to speed with like sitting down and studying and writing and all of that because I've been working for a few years after I graduated. But yeah, that's easy, not easy, but it's you can get past it pretty fast as well. Just you have to stay focused.
Did you have any help or support with that?
From the DPU, yeah, from the professors, my fellow students, and UCL has such a great community. And like when you're in a master's program, there's a lot of people, some coming straight from undergrad, some coming, they have a few years gap of working, they haven't been in school for a while, like myself. And just the community and the people, like we share these experiences together, like I'm worried about this, you're worried about that. And if someone has a previous experience with something, they share with each other. And it's just a great environment where everyone is just lifting each other up.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Razan.
No worries.
Juliet, could you say something about your experience?
Yeah, hi. Just to piggyback off what Razan was saying about the learning environment, what I found very helpful is that the department has a very supportive structure. And so everybody in the department is looking out for ways that they can help you, from the administrator, we have student advisors, personal tutors, and all that. And so it's very helpful to have that community that Razan is talking about that helps you with your studies and adjust with the way studying is here. With regards to my application for the scholarship, I'd say it was pretty straightforward. I didn't struggle to go through the process. The FAQ session was very helpful. It's very informative. It has an answer to every question that you may have about the process. And so that was very helpful. I have applied to the scholarship twice, actually, and I was successful the second time. And what I would say made a difference for me was being transparent and showing that I'm the kind of candidate that the scholarship would benefit. Being transparent with your motivations, why you are choosing the program that you want to study, and how the scholarship can help you foster your future ambitions. I think that's what made a difference for me. With regards to living in London, it's great, really. It's different from how it is in Africa because of how the system is. So what I love really is the transportation system. I'll never stop saying it. It's easy to get around. You know when you're going to get to where you're going, and it's very structured. And the parks, there are so many parks. Where I live alone, there are 3 parks around me. And so you can go out, just sit outside, enjoy the outdoor view and all that. And the opportunity to also see Europe. So a couple of friends and I are trying to get visa to see other places in Europe because it's quite cheaper to go from here. So the scholarship is very good. It gives you the opportunity, as Razan said, to focus on your studies and then explore other things that are useful for you personally and your career. This UCL is a center of excellence for the built environment. And so we get to interact with industry professionals. In my master's alone, we've had so many guest lectures from people who are experienced in the industry, and they teach us about things that is going on at the forefront of the industry and how to think about things with regards to the future and sustainability. We talk about sustainability a lot and all that. Yeah, so it's very nice. It's a nice experience being at UCL, and I'm very happy to be here. And I'm only here because of the Bartlett Promise Scholarship. So I'd encourage everybody to give it their best shot and apply, and all the best.
Thank you both. I guess now at this point we go on to questions. We've had a couple of people with their hands raised for a while. Oh gosh. Hannah, can you tell us what the okay, so we've got Nesoma Obi.
Yeah, there are two people who have raised their hands, and then there's quite a few questions in the Q&A box as well. So I don't know which ones you want to tackle first.
What should we go with the hands raised, because they've been there for a while.
If they just want to come in, I think that's easiest.
Nesoma, can you speak? Or if not, could you write your comment and your question in the chat? Your question.
Can people, Hannah, can people with their hands raised, can they sort of join the call and ask questions, or do they need to write them in the chat?
Just having a look here. There we go.
I'm not sure how the call is set up.
Just selected that they're able to talk.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can, Elsie. Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, welcome.
Oh, okay. My name is Obimesoma. I'm from Nigeria. I'm a graduate from University of Nigeria, Nsukka. I've been following the scholarship for the past 2 years. I think it's now that I've been able to like apply to the school. So I got my offer letter, and in the offer letter, they gave me a deadline for the deposit fee, which is April 1. And I was wondering if I could apply. Should I send an email to UCL for an extension, or will the Bartlett help me with the extension?
So this is a question, Sarah, this was a question around, as I understand it, around deposits. If you're being asked to pay a deposit, and obviously you don't want to pay a deposit if you're going to be, you know, hopefully.
Okay, that's fine. If anybody has an offer letter and they are being asked by their department to pay a deposit, please send an email to bartlett.promise@ucl.ac.uk, and we will contact the department and ask them to hold off on that, because anybody who's applied for the Bartlett Promise Scholarship doesn't have to pay their deposit until the point of, you know, deciding who gets the scholarship, sort of thing. So that's not a problem. Please just email us to let us know that's your case. Send us your offer letter, and we'll contact the department and sort that out for you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask another question?
Please do.
Okay, I think the question is for the students that have gotten the scholarship. I wanted to ask, in the application, there are obviously like a lot of people applying, and I wanted to know what made them stand out from others in their application, especially in the 100 questions, in the short replies, and then in the interview.
I think, as Juliet said, you have to be authentic about yourself. You have to like be genuine and be truthful about your ambitions and what you want to do and your current situation, as it's a need-based scholarship. And just to get into more details, for example, in my case, I was very specific about, for example, how much I made a year, how much my annual income was. I'm technically a refugee, so because the war started in Sudan in the year that I applied, or like the year previous to the year I applied to the scholarship. So I was very specific on how much I make, how much the rest of my family make, the annual income, as that have been talked about earlier in the meeting, and all of that. And you have to be genuine, like about your ambitions and what you want to do, and speak about your past experiences and how that affected you. Just, I think, like from my experience, creating a genuine application can actually be seen through your words and through your, like the way you write and your like answers to the questions in your essay and for the interview and all of that. But yeah, this is a tip for me.
Okay, thank you so much. One more question, please.
No worries.
In the household income part, like, is it your parents' household income, or I don't know, guardian, or I don't know, what what evidence do you submit?
You don't need to submit any evidence at this point. It's if you live independently from your parents and you've got your own house or your own accommodation and you're supporting yourself with your own income, then it's your income. If you're still living with your parents, then it's the family income.
Okay, so in a situation where I'm living with my guardian, maybe not my parents, but like my brother, it's going to be my brother.
I think that would still count your brother and your income together.
Okay.
We understand that people have all kinds of different circumstances and families and so on. So I think, as Razan says, to just be honest and explain what your situation is as it genuinely is, and then that will enable us to understand what your circumstances are. And if you are shortlisted and you have this conversation with the Windsor Fellowship, they may ask a little bit more about it and give you the opportunity a bit more to explain it as well. We do understand that it's very difficult to objectively compare people in different countries with different currencies and different economic circumstances in their countries. So sometimes it's a kind of narrative description of your circumstances that will help us understand what your particular background and what your particular needs are.
Okay, thank you very much for answering my questions.
Okay, we have another hand raised. Johannes, get ready.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there. Hi. Good afternoon.
Are you fine? If you make it video for me, of me, it is good for me. Let me see myself in video. Is it possible?
I don't know if we can do that. I don't know if Hannah can do that. Can we allow Johannes to put on his video? Go ahead anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it would automatically happen. I'll tinker in the background.
Yeah, but go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, by the way, I have applied for UCL to be eligible for this scholarship.
Right.
First of all, shall I introduce myself?
Yes, please do. Yeah, please.
I am from Ethiopia. You know Ethiopia, yeah?
Yep.
I am from Ethiopia and I have graduated from computer engineering
Okay.
from Bahir Dar University, which is a famous university in Ethiopia. And I have graduated from computer engineering, but now I applied for digital engineering management, which is familiar with my professional experience, because now at this time I am e-learning developer, and I want to tailor the techniques and other things that I have found in this professional experience into digital engineering management. So what I wanted to ask is, I have applied, but how much is the probability to be eligible for this scholarship? Because when I see the scholarship, it's amazing. Everything matches with my interest, when it comes to English language requirement, it says the one who want to be eligible must fulfill a minimum of 12 months, which is that means either his or her degree, that means. So I do have learned for about 5 years in the university in English. So
Yeah.
in this side, it is okay. And even I was the first who to apply for USL, and
Right.
there was an application fee, and it is already paid because the principle that the first come first server.
Yeah.
So by this cases, just I love it, this scholarship. And what is my hesitation is now, for how much I will be sure to be eligible because of my department. I come from computer engineering, but I'm applying for MSc
Yeah.
in digital engineering management.
Yeah.
Am I rebel, by the way?
So I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I fully understand your question. If you're asking, are you eligible because of your background in computer engineering?
Really, you are right. You are correct.
Yeah, but that is purely for the course you're applying to, what we call DIBAM, aren't you? The digital building management course. The program director for that program will decide whether they would like you to make you an offer on that program. That is, we do not make any decisions with the Bartlett Promise Scholarship program as to whether you get an offer on your master's or not. So if your eligibility for your program is for the program director and their admissions team to decide.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's what you were asking. If we haven't answered that correctly, just send an email to bartlett.promise@ucl.ac.uk and explain exactly what you're concerned about, and we will come back to you that way. I couldn't fully follow what you were asking in your question, but
If I can interrupt a bit, just to add to that, from my experience, I'm not from the department that you're applying for, but there's a lot of diversity when it comes to background, when it comes to master's students. For example, in my master's, there's some people from real estate background, economics background, social sciences, political sciences, and some people who have never worked in planning or were never been architects, or which is a little bit related. So it really, as Iain said, it depends on like your department and what they're looking for. But usually it's not that big of a deal, I'd say, that you don't come from a similar background as the master's that you want to do.
yeah, thanks, Razan. I think that's right.
Okay, I think Nasoma's been waiting for a long while to speak. Do you want to speak, Nasoma?
No, sorry, let me lower
Yeah.
my hand.
Yeah.
Right, sorry. Okay.
Is it Elsie on the? Is there an? I think Elsie's had her hand up for quite a
Yeah,
while.
hello. Yeah, this is Elsie, and I'm speaking from Ghana. I have about 2 years of work experience, and I think the other lady asked almost every question I wanted to ask, and they've been fully answered. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, hope to hear more from you in your application, Elsie, and good luck with your application.
Thank you. I've actually been applying for the past 2 years. I finally got admission, and I'm hopeful about what is next.
All right. So you have an offer, yeah?
Yes, I do have an offer. I was also asked to pay a tuition deposit. And so I was
Okay.
listening when she asked the question, and
Okay.
it was well answered. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Well, congratulations on your offer. That's great. That's
Thank
good
you.
to hear.
Hannah, can you see who's next on the hands up list, or should we move to the questions, do you think?
I think that's everyone. So yeah, should we move to the questions? Do you want me to read them out, or would you like to go through them?
So I can do that.
Great.
The first one I can see is, what are your criteria to select the top 3 for this scholarship? Iain, would you like to speak to that?
Yeah, well, the main criteria really are the eligibility criteria. And then when you get asked to do the second stage of the application, we will just ask some questions around what your background is, what you have studied before, but also what challenges you have faced in completing your education previously. And also a little bit about what benefits you see from the program that you want to study and what you feel you may be able to contribute to the country that you come from. So the application is not, as we said to one of the people on the call just now, is really about just trying to understand your journey, your life story, your background. And what it isn't is a test of your academic ability, I think is a clear way of describing it. So really, it's about trying to understand people. We're looking for the people who have overcome adversity, have come from particularly difficult backgrounds, who have got a clear sense of what they personally, but also their community, their city, their country how they would benefit from you doing your master's program.
Thank you, Iain. The next question is, how is the stipend dispersed? Will it be paid monthly over the course of 12 months? Actually, we normally do it in 3 payments, termly payments. So you get 1 payment in October for the first term, 1 payment in January, and 1 payment in March, beginning of April. That's the usual way that we do that. There's a couple describing their situations. Yes, another one asking about the deposit situation. As we just said before, if you've been asked to pay a deposit, please send us an email and we'll sort that out for you. Gosh.
I'm looking through them as well, Sarah.
They seem to jump up and down. So
oh, I'm just marking as done the ones that we've already covered. So sorry, that may not be helping you.
Right, that's good. That's why then things are moving. Right. Can we submit an application for the scholarship before we receive an unconditional offer? Or when we wait for the unconditional offer? You can submit an application to the scholarship if you've got a conditional offer that's conditional on your language ability. If your letter is unconditional because you're waiting for your undergraduate degree results, for example, then no, you can't. If you aren't going to get your undergraduate results until June or July or something like that, then no, because we must know that you meet the criteria for your offer to be considered for the shortlist. So yes, it can be unconditional on language, but only language.
Yep. I mean, the next question, I think, from Kadar from Somalia is, I think Kadar is saying that they applied last year to the scholarship, and is it worth them applying again this year? The criteria are the same this year again. So it's certainly worth applying because we have had people who've applied 1 year and been unsuccessful and applied the following year and been successful in a subsequent year. So yes, it's worth doing that, but the criteria are the same. We haven't changed our criteria from year to year.
I would like to say, though, it is a competitive thing.
Yeah.
Last year we had 85 people, I think, who met the eligibility criteria. So, you're in competition with 85 people, or it could be more, it could be less, but that's the sort of number of people who you will be competing against.
Yeah.
So that answers what's the average number of applications. That's the number of eligible applications. We receive more, but usually, but the ones that haven't got an offer letter in time or have some problem with have a condition on their application, they're the ones that don't get through.
Christiana's asking whether they can apply as a graduate research lab assistant. Yes, absolutely. If you meet the other eligibility criteria, and you're currently a graduate research lab assistant, you can. That wouldn't preclude you from applying. That wouldn't make you ineligible. So the normal eligibility criteria would apply to you for that.
Somebody said, what if I don't receive an outcome of my application before the scholarship application deadline? This is a problem. This is why we encourage people to apply in October, November. That's when the fee waivers are available. That's when you should be getting your application in, because if you do that, October, November, December at the latest, then the likelihood is that you would get your offer in time. If you apply later, for example, don't even think about applying in February, March. You are very unlikely to get your offer through in time. So it's all about the timing. So we strongly advise you to wait till next year if you haven't got a fee waiver this year.
Yeah. I think that's good advice. It's sometimes worth if you apply. If people are thinking of applying next year as well, it's worth perhaps mentioning in your application that you intend to apply to the Bartlett Promise Sub-Saharan African Scholarship, so that people are also aware that you will need your offer by a certain date. So it's worth letting them know that.
which goes to the next question: how long does it take to get an offer letter? It depends on the departments, doesn't it, Iain?
Unfortunately, that does vary quite a lot depending on the department, but also on the specific program that you apply to. Some programs literally have hundreds and hundreds of applicants to them. So it does, of course, take them a little longer to process all their applications than others. So I think Sarah's advice about applying early in the academic year is good advice. So if you haven't already done so, it's probably going to be the best to apply for a program next academic year.
Christiana is asking, what does the scholarship cover? We've mentioned this earlier in the presentation. The information is also available on our website. So I would recommend, Christiana, that you look at that. I want to ask how many spaces are available for the scholarship. Again, that's on the website. We've mentioned earlier, it's 3 spaces for this year, plus the Juliet Prescot Scholarship. Scholarship. How do we demonstrate financial need? In the application form, you need to state your, there are questions in the application form about your financial situation. You need to answer those questions. And yes, that's what we need to know for you at this point.
Yeah. There's a question about, is there still room to be nominated for the Commonwealth Scholarship, which is a UCL-wide scholarship? I'm afraid I just have to say we don't know the answer to that. You'll have to look at the UCL website for that. We don't have the specific information on that one, so perhaps send them an email to answer that question.
Do you notify candidates if they have an application fee waiver? I think that happens through the admissions team, because admissions team will waive your fee, and then that means that your application will go forward for processing by the department. And I think you will be notified that that's happened by the admissions team.
Yeah, they contact you, they send you an email and with instructions on what to do. So you would be aware of whether it's happening or not, because it's more of a back and forth process between you and the admissions team.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
We've got a question about how much does work experience factor into our decisions, or is it just focused on challenges that were overcome and future visions? I would say, yeah, explain to us what your work experience is. That's often a really important part of it. So as Razan said earlier, be honest about and be descriptive about what you have done in education, but also in work. And that's often really helpful. So tell us about that. That's really useful to know. Can I get a graduate assistantship role while on the scholarship? A question from Sylvia. I think the answer to that is probably no. One of the reasons that we offer the full package, financial package, for this award is so that people don't need to do any additional, or shouldn't need to do any additional work or earn any extra money. We really want to give people the opportunity to focus fully on their studies. It might be that you can do a little bit of helping with on the program, perhaps being a student rep or something like representative or something like that. But no, you wouldn't normally have students who've got a Bartlett Promise Scholarship doing an assistantship role, and you shouldn't really need to get it financially either.
I don't think you can get it anyways, because in UCL you can't work as a graduate assistant unless you're doing PhD. So master's students don't get to work as graduate assistants.
Yeah, you're quite right, Razan. Yeah, that's also the case. We have occasionally, very occasionally, bent that rule so that master's students have worked and contributed to teaching. But yeah, you're right. It's not a normal thing for us to do anyway.
Next question is, are we required to provide references? No, you're not.
Yeah.
Is there an age limit?
No. Well, You have to be over. I mean, because you will have need to have done an undergraduate degree. You're probably you're going to need to be able to travel independently, and you're going to need to be able to have a visa. You're probably going to be over the age of 18. But there isn't an upper age limit. No, we're not saying that, for example, that the candidate applicant should be between 18 and 30 years old. If you're in your 40s, 50s, and so on, then yes, you can also apply.
What type of career development support will scholars receive during their time at UCL and upon graduation? We have a very supportive careers advisor, and for example, this year he gave 2 talks at the beginning of the year about how to access UCL Careers Service, how to do a LinkedIn account, and various other things. The UCL has a magnificent careers service, and you are able to access the training that they offer, the webinars that they do, the one-to-one sessions that they coaching and so on that they do. So there's lots of support available from UCL, and we also get special service from our advisor. You can also, as a UCL alumni, you can continue to use that service for 3 years after you graduated.
What is the average, Matthias is asking, what is the average scholarship acceptance rate for the past 3 years? I think everybody who has been offered a scholarship has accepted it and has come to UCL. Is that right, Sarah? I think that's right, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I mean, it's a very generous scholarship. So yeah, people who've been offered these scholarships have indeed taken them up.
I think they mean your acceptance rate, like the percentage of the amounts of applicants that are accepted.
Well, I mean, as Sarah said, there's roughly 80 students who are eligible each year for the award who apply, and of those we make 3 offers. So what is that? 4%, 5% of applicants are successful, of eligible applicants are successful. Yeah, if that's what that means. Next question. Can you please confirm if the scholarship awards at UCL are handled confidentially between the university and the recipient, rather than as comment about the embassy, person's embassy knowing? Sarah, my understanding is it's fully confidential between the university and the recipient, and that the visa is dealt with through it's dealt with the UK authorities.
Yes, we don't share any data with anybody else, apart from the Windsor Fellowship are given your name and contact details so that they can set up the dialogue with you. But they just know your name and email or phone number. That's all, and we don't share data with anybody else. No. If you get an offer of a scholarship, then you have to apply for your visa. You have to fill in your application form, and you may need to declare things on that that I don't know whether your embassy would then find out about that. But that's it. No, we don't share data with anybody.
Is there any support available for applicants looking to pursue a PhD after being awarded this master's scholarship? Well, unfortunately, currently we're not able to offer PhD scholarships to Sub-Saharan African students as part of the Bartlett Promise Award. It is the case that students have gone on to do PhDs, and obviously the UCL and the Bartlett as a whole will help people do that in terms of preparing their applications, providing references and so on. But the Bartlett Promise Scholarship Scheme itself, unfortunately, does not provide PhD scholarships. So we can't help in that respect, but your tutors and other people at the Bartlett would obviously be able to help you prepare an application and also advise on other scholarships that might be available to you.
The next one says, can I apply for the scholarship if I've not yet had my admission letter? Yes. The deadline for admissions for the Bartlett Promise applications is the 28th of March. You can put an application in on the 14th of February, but just know that at the deadline on the 28th of March, we will then start checking whether you've got an offer letter. And if you haven't got an offer letter, then your application will just be discarded because you don't meet the eligibility criteria. But you can put you can put your application in as soon as the application form opens, but you must then send us your offer letter before or by the 28th of March.
Somebody's asking if they can apply for the scholarship even though they're a second generation graduate student. It's probably, yes, you can still apply. It's not an absolute criteria. And it is possible that you would still be awarded a scholarship. It would depend on, obviously, then on your other circumstances and other aspects of your background.
Would you like to answer Nega?
Yes. Nega from Ethiopia is asking, they haven't got enough information on how to apply and the criteria of eligibility. Been working for more than 13 years. Gosh, yes, and currently the head of a Justice Department. Nega, please do look at the website because I think all the information on how to apply and the eligibility criteria is on there. And if it's still not clear after that, please do email us at bartlett.promise@ucl.ac.uk.
Okay, and Benson says, if my application goes through, does it mean that my application fee waiver was successful? I never got an email to confirm on the waiver, but my application is under assessment. Yes, it does. If it's under assessment, it means it has gone through and you are now being considered.
Yep.
Can I contact you for the fee waiver if I've already paid the application fee? No, I'm afraid not. We don't reimburse them. You have to apply for a fee waiver and get it. We don't do any reimbursements, I'm afraid.
Question here from Yahya. Apologies for my pronunciation. Can you apply if you completed a master's degree but want to do another one at UCL as well? No, sorry. No, you would not be eligible in that case.
Another one says, sorry, so you mean I shouldn't bother submitting my application at the moment? I'm looking to pay the application fee out of pocket. We would advise you not to. We would advise you to wait and apply for a fee waiver next year, but it's entirely your decision. You have to make the decision. But there are 80 people probably who will, around that sort of number, who will have an offer letter, and you'll be competing with those. So that's the calculation you need to make.
Yeah. If I'm selected for the scholarship, will the scholarship cover the cost of the English language test requirements? Yes, is the answer to that, isn't it, Sarah? And indeed, we will also, if necessary, pay for your travel to take that test as well, not just the cost of the test itself. We understand that these expenses can be barriers to people. And so, yes, if you're successful, we would cover those costs. Am I mandated to return to my home country after graduation? We don't stipulate that, do we, Sarah? But it is part of you would find it's part of your UK student visa requirements as well. The UK student visa that you would gain would only allow you to stay in the UK for a certain period of time. But no, we don't say you must return back to X location and you must get a job in doing Y profession.
The only constraining factor is your visa. You need to check very carefully on your visa and when that expires, and you need to have left the country before the visa expires.
Quite a lot of these questions we've Fafa Sam is asking, do we offer assistance with the student visa application? Yes, we do if you are successful and we have made you an offer.
Yes, we have a very, very good team at UCL who support students with visa applications, and we usually ask the scholars to prepare their application and then get it checked by that team to make sure that every detail is correct before they actually apply.
Yeah. Does the scholarship cover school trips? No, unfortunately, if there are field trips or other things as part of your program, there is no additional funding for that. But as we say, the maintenance award is just over £16,000 a year. So that should be enough to pay for any of those field trips that you might need to take. If you're concerned about that, then ask the program director of your program exactly what the field trips are and what they're likely to cost. But no, we're not able to offer any additional funding, but it should be enough to pay for any of those field trips or school trips that you need to take. Just somebody asking, am I less likely to receive the scholarship if I was rejected for an application fee waiver and paid my application fee out of pocket? I think if the answer is, were you just too late to apply for an application fee waiver, then no, that wouldn't make a difference. But I don't understand why you might be rejected for an application fee waiver if you were also eligible for a Bartlett Promise Scholarship.
If some people don't get a fee waiver because the admissions team consider the applicant is ineligible, maybe from a country that's not included in our list of Sub-Saharan African countries, for example, if you didn't meet the eligibility criteria, then they would not give you a fee waiver.
Yeah.
If it's just a time thing. If you missed the deadline, if you didn't apply early enough and consequently didn't get one, then it has no relevance.
Deborah's saying their question's not been answered. Sorry, that might have been me, Deborah. I may have accidentally deleted it. Maybe you could ask it again, and we'll see if we have not already covered it. Apologies for that.
In the meantime, Razan, thank you so much for joining and for talking to everybody. Do you have anything final to say to the applicants?
No worries, it was my pleasure. Not really. I think a lot of topics has been covered, but good luck, guys.
Yeah.
And don't give up if you weren't able to get the scholarship this year for whatever reason. Don't worry. Try again next year. It's never too late. And yeah. And I noticed a lot of questions about the deadlines and whatnot. I myself was worried about that as well. And I just want to say that I submitted my application on January 11th. And I still managed just to get a response before the deadline of the scholarship. I'm not saying that you might also, like, if you apply now, that you might get an offer before the scholarship deadline, but yeah, just to put that out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've just found Deborah's question as well. She was saying she applied in January, the same as you, and has not yet got an offer or a reply back to her application. Deborah, that should be coming very soon. It's probably worth your while sending a message to the admissions team and just explaining that you're applying to the Bartlett Promise Scholarship. So, and that, you know, you will need to know by the end of March, and just remind them of that. But yeah, you should get a decision by then.
Yes, definitely do that. That's something I did when I felt like the application window was closing by. I emailed the faculty that I'm applying for, the DPU and the admissions office, and just explained my situation, that I'd like to apply for the scholarship and I wouldn't be able to attend if I didn't get it. And yeah, they did get back to me and they did send me an offer the week after. So that can be really helpful.
Yeah. And Hannah's already replied to Shadrach's question about do we have any preference for any sub-Saharan African country? And Hannah's given the full list of all the countries in the chat. It's also on our website. But just also to say that no, there is no particular preference. We're not particularly looking for a student from Gambia or Lesotho or Botswana rather than Zimbabwe or Zambia or wherever. That's not how it works. We're kind of geography blind, if you like. What I can say is that we do, though, review where people have come from. And I think it's fair to say, Sarah, we've had quite a wide range of sub-Saharan African countries, students from different countries as part of the scheme. So it doesn't really make a difference where you are. Just apply.
We've got one more hand raised, Adama Traore.
Adama, do you want to come online, ask your question?
Yes. No, I think my question has been answered.
Okay.
My question was about the age limit, the upper age limit. So I think it was answered. So thank you for your answer.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, no, there is no age limit. So yeah. Brilliant.
Okay, and Dorcas Mendin.
Dorcas, do you want to come online and ask a question? Or Sylvia, I think, also has got their hand up.
I think Sylvia did speak.
Ah, has Sylvia already been?
Hello.
Hi.
My name
Hi,
is
Sylvia.
Sylvia. Hi.
Hi.
And I attended University of Benin in Nigeria, and I studied architecture. But while applying for the for admission in UCL, I applied for biointegrated design because of my drive in architecture and how to make the environment a better place. So I got an offer letter from UCL, which was conditional based on certificates. So within that period of time, I was able to get a fee deposit extension from them. They sent me a message that, okay, they are going to extend my fee deposit till around something around like April or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, so after that period, I was able to get my certificate from my school and upload it on my application portal. And then I got another letter, which was an unconditional offer. So in the unconditional offer, it was stated that I should get a fee deposit ready by February, sometime around February. So I wanted to ask, should I still message the Bartlett or UCL about a fee deposit extension again, or I could just go with the first one?
No, please do send us an email, Sylvia, and we'll just make sure with the department that that's clear. It's better to be safe than sorry. If you send us an email, then we'll double check it.
So send that email to bartlett.promise@ucl.ac.uk. And we will speak to the department and make sure that that's okay. And congratulations on your offer to the MArch Bio.
Thank you very much.
That's great.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
I think we've covered just about everything now. So I'd like to say thank you very much to Juliet. I've thanked Razan already, but thank you, Juliet, for joining us and being there.
My pleasure.
Any final comments?
Yeah,
all the best to everyone. I think a lot of the questions have touched on different areas, and the answers have also been very insightful. And so just make use of the information that you have, and read, if you have any questions, read FAQs on the website, or send an email to the Bartlett Promise to the email that has been suggested to you. And if you have any problem, you should email your department. UCL is a very responsive institution, and so any email that you send is going to be responded to. So all the best to everyone. And hopefully I'll see you here this year for my master's program.
Thanks, Juliet.
Thank you, Juliet. One question was about when the recording of this. I know Hannah is making a recording and she will be putting it on the Bartlett Promise Sub-Saharan African webpage as soon as that's possible. In the meantime, yes, you have our email address, you have our webpage. Please get in contact. Dion, who's been on the call with us today, and myself will be responding to you, whatever your questions are. So, Iain, do you want to...
Yeah, well, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining this call. Thanks for your interest in the Bartlett Promise Scholarship. We appreciate everyone's interest in it. We appreciate all the people that apply, and we look forward to reading your applications when they come in later in the next few weeks. And we look forward to those of you who are successful in applying. In particular, we look forward to seeing you later in the year. But as Sarah says, in the meantime, any questions that you have, please just drop us an email and we'll do our best to respond to you. But thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Yeah.